Hey guys, welcome back for yet another fun and exciting episode of In Gear. I'm Tiddlywinks, that's Poopsie Schmoopsie.
What the hell?
And I think we both want to wish all of you a very, very happy new year and a very safe holiday season.
Yeah, so, maybe you got some kind of resolution or something. You're probably trying to hopefully not be as hideous this year as last year.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet you're probably trying to get that hernia fixed off your stomach.
Yeah, well, you know what? Sometimes you have a hernia when you're just
fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want from me.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that's what happens when you're 73 years old. You get a hernia. So, what are some things that you usually associate with New Year's?
New Year's?
Yeah.
So I think one of the first things that come to mind for me is New Year's Rockin' Eve. Used
Dick
to be
Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he really wasn't looking too hot there at the end, though.
Well, no, I guess. Well, how many died after that? So, yeah.
Right after the episode?
Yeah, he walked right off stage and just croaked.
Well, I mean, like I was saying, he really didn't sound too good either. He was just like, I'm Dick Clark. I touched my wife. That's, kind of like the vibes I was getting from. Anyway, so
that
anything else?
Like Cosby or something.
Yeah, right. Hey, the pudding pop schmoopsies. What do you associate? What else do you associate with? I mean, of course, Dick Clark. I think Mariah Carey, right? She probably does something on that.
Yeah,
day,
I mean,
right?
most years, I don't know about most years, but several years she's done some sort of song or something, or been on the New Year's Rockin' Eve show.
Yeah. So,
of course, I like to watch the ball drop, do the countdown and everything.
Now, how does that work with us in Hawaii and people?
We'll just watch it 5 hours early. We'll be counting down at 7 in the afternoon.
Does that mean we have to wish people to Happy New Year's? I'll have to wish you happy
New
New Year's.
This is what I am gleaning from this, because you're one of them dirty New Yorkers.
Fuck you.
You're already in the right time zone for the countdown and everything. You've never really experienced that.
Always. I've never experienced this issue. So tell me, how's it work with you?
Yeah, so since I'm from Kansas, we're only an hour or 2 hours behind. I don't remember what without looking at it. But back in Kansas, we would do the countdown or whatever, watch the ball drop, because the ball's live. You can't watch it an hour late. That's not the same thing. So the performance and all the bands that come on and the ball drop, that's live. And you'll watch the countdown, but in your time zone, you may have a countdown of its own where you're actually still waiting for New Year's and everything.
Well, are you aware of how Oahu does New Year's Eve?
No.
So it was brought to my attention that Oahu actually goes pretty ham. It's equivalent to the 4th of July celebrations that we be accustomed to in the States with all the fireworks. So along H1, people will actually, pull off on the highway. And if you just look around, there's got to be 100+ different fireworks shows going on at one time.
Really?
It is a giant celebration. It's one of my buddies told me that it actually gets so hazy in the air that it'll get to the point where you're not really actually making out individual fireworks, but just flashes of light hidden behind the mist.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is. And I think it's actually probably makes sense, because the Chinese and the Japanese, I think the Chinese were the ones that first invented fireworks. I want to say it was the Chinese.
That sounds right to me. But then again, maybe we just look like a couple of idiots right now.
Yeah, maybe we do. And if we do,
well, I guess you could just hit us up at ingearpodcast@gmail.com and let us know where fireworks were invented.
Right? Seems like a simple task. I think they should be able to accomplish that. So here's the thing. Chinese. There's there's predominant Chinese and Japanese, what would you say? Not culture, but...
Culture?
There's a lot of them here. It's a demographic, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Demographic here.
Yeah, there are.
Which makes sense as to why they would go all out. I'm sure Chinatown is probably crazy. Downtown Waikiki, Chinatown area.
Right,
it's probably crazy on, New Year's Eve. It's just any excuse to have fireworks. So usually I associate a little bit of New Year's Eve with a little bit of drinking too. Or do you not drink?
No, I don't drink. You know this.
Oh, okay. I guess I was wrong.
I go to sleep every night with the Bible on my chest and
a condom on your penis.
Okay.
So I kind of related to, doing a little bit of drinking and stuff like that. So I remember this, it brings me down to my, you know how we get when we drink, we've thrown some pretty crazy parties and it can get a little wild. Anything from me urinating on your chest.
No, that never happened either.
It did happen. It fucking happened, Justin.
See, I'm pretty sure it didn't happen. You probably were so drunk you were in some sort of state of delusion and made up this whole thing.
Kind of like the state of delusions I was in the 3 or 4 times you stripped me naked every time I was drunk.
It was only once and it was your birthday. It was something special.
Yeah, you're right. Oh my God. I didn't even think of it that way. Yeah, thank you.
So and that was me and what was it, Brandon?
Oh fuck. Yes. Yeah, it was. It was you and Brandon. And there were some onlookers too. There were some other people looking around, glancing at the little show they got, that little
Yeah.
meat show.
Yeah, everybody wanted to see what was going on over there.
They wanted a little taste, dude. That's all it was. So I yeah, that happened and whatnot. But I remember this one night specifically, it involved a toilet bowl. And I feel like it was this one night we had a lot of friends over. My wife had one of her friends over, and she had this fat friend, like probably had to be like 340 pounds. Disgusting. I don't even know her fucking name, but she's hideous and disgusting.
Well, you love huge women.
No, I don't. And she's fucking wasted. Her husband's just somewhere else, not dealing with her because of how his fat wife gets when she's wasted. So my wife at the time is sitting in the bathroom, like throwing up. And so, like, we're all in there helping out her friends and I. Eventually, she kind of gets up, or no, she kind of like leans over and like slides into the bathtub or something like that. Some bullshit.
Okay.
So I got to pee at this point. So I'm like, hey, I got to get out of here. I got to get out of the room. And this fat friend's blocking up the whole entire doorway. I'm like, hey, can you move? Can you move? I got to pee. And she goes, no. Like, pee in my mouth. I'm like, what?
Oh, yeah,
and
of course.
Yeah, I think I told you the story. And she got on her knees and was like, yeah, just pee in my mouth. I'm like, I ain't peeing in your fucking mouth in front of my wife, first off. Second off is my wife. And third off, you're fat.
Yo, I cannot wait for her to listen to this episode now and be like, what the fuck?
Oh, she knows. I brought it up to her. I was like, yo, she was like, oh, yeah, my fat friend's getting married. I'm like, oh, that's great. Again. I was like, you mean the one that wanted me to piss in her mouth? So I wound up getting really inebriated that night. Super hammered. Everyone left. And she went to bed. So I continued the party in true moldy fashion. Kept drinking. Eventually, like, I was outside. I was doing something. I was sitting in a chair. Kind of threw up all over myself. And it was a preemptive throw up all over my chest. So I was like, oh, okay, whatever. It's just throw up. It's cool. So I rip off my shirt. And as my way up the stairs, I drop my pants. I'm in my boxers now. And at some point, I realized I got to go to the bathroom right now because I'm going to throw up. And I might as well just do it not on myself and in the toilet bowl.
Oh, wow.
So I go in there. I lift up the toilet bowl seat. And I start throwing up in this toilet bowl. But for some reason, I rested my hands in front of my mouth. So I'm coating my body in vomit at this point. And I'm like, kind of like doing that like drunk scream that, hey, come over here and help me, to fucking Caitlin in the back. And she comes in and I flush the toilet and she comes in. She's like, oh my God, your hands are covered in vomit. Clean yourself and then I'll help you. So I was like, okay, whatever. So I take my hands, I dunk them in the toilet and I start washing them and cleaning them up. And she goes, you're disgusting, walks out. And I like just pass out on the bathroom floor for a few hours. But that's how that went.
Kind of reminds me of the time I was drinking.
I want to hear about it.
Well, let me paint a picture for you.
Okay, paint it.
So,
do it.
Had a buddy come over. This is back when I lived in Georgia for a little while. And, Georgia's pretty warm. And it was like springtime, so the evenings were nice. And he had come over like the night before or whatever, 2 nights prior or whatever it happened to have been. And he had brought like a bottle of whiskey or something. And I didn't have any. I wasn't in the mood to have any alcohol, but he had like a glass of it and left the bottle.
So you had like a nice healthy bottle there just for free.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, it's still in my fridge. A couple days later, you know what? I'm going to do a little bit of that. And I was like, oh, I'm really enjoying myself right now. So I did a little bit more. Ended up drinking old boy's entire bottle of whiskey.
Now, is this just like a regular 750?
Yeah.
Or is it like a...
Oh, just your regular size,
okay.
750 milliliter bottle. That's quite a bit of whiskey to consume all by yourself.
Oh, yeah. If I do a bottle, I can't say that because me and you have done... Our record has been... I remember we used to stay up till... We start drinking at 6 p.m. and drink till like 8 a.m. And we do a handle between the two of us of Maker's Mark.
We can put away alcohol.
Yeah, like it's no way business. But anyway, continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, I go ahead and consume this entire, 3/4 of a bottle, whatever it was when I got into it. And I'm quite drunk and it's getting late and I'm tired and I'm drunk and I kind of sit on the couch and I'm out of booze and I start feeling like, oh, I might get a little nauseous.
Oh God.
So I excuse myself out to the front porch to get some fresh air, smoke a cigarette. And
that usually helps. That usually is the cigarette. Usually it's just, I don't know what it is, but sometimes it can help.
It seems that way. Well, I don't believe I did throw up that night, but sometime mid-morning, I wake up on the front porch with the sun beating on me.
Oh
Dear
my
God, it was hot.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Were you naked?
No, I was dressed. I was just
Damn it.
laying on the porch. I don't know
Well, then
what
what
the
the hell
neighbors were
was the
thinking
point
while
of the
they're driving
conversation? I
by.
was hoping it led to something a little bit of those, white rosy cheeks being cooked in the sun or something.
No. We don't all spend all of our days naked like you.
I
don't know
know.
when I come over to the studio why you always have to be naked whenever I come over.
I'm always clothed, and you know that. You know that damn
You probably
well.
wear clothes in the shower.
Do I wear clothes in the shower?
Yeah, because you want to have your modesty.
No, not at all. I just feel like sometimes I'll wear a G-string.
Nice.
You know what I mean? You don't wear thongs?
No,
So,
I wear drawers.
yeah, drawers. So I'm a Speedo kind of guy. That's kind of like, how I roll.
Well, hey, I want to go ahead and change gears here.
Oh!
Yeah, I threw that in there. And so I heard you mentioned earlier, and I want to really get into details on this. You were looking into buying a second Subaru.
Yes. So, obviously I got the 17 STI.
Right.
That's, all fully built, the whole shebang, a lot of fun, great power, whatever. But there is a specific Subaru that really, really sticks out in my mind. One of the body styles that I love the most. And I think one of the cool things about the Subaru WRX is that throughout the years, they have very predominant body styles, like any other car company, how they kind of switch through their body styles. But I feel like Subarus more specifically, they made a very definite definition in the difference between their body styles throughout the years. So, for example, I think it's 2002 to 2003 is the Bug Eye, 2004 to 2005, 6, somewhere in there you get hit with the Blob Eye. Somewhere in there after that you get hit with the Hawkeye. Then you get hit with this weird version in 2008 that I don't even know. Some people call it a Hawkeye. It's what my 08 WRX had. Some people call it a Hawkeye. I don't. That's not the Hawkeye I related to. And there's all these different names people have for them. And then after that, after 2008 to 14 and a half, you switch to the 2015 plus to like what I got.
Yeah.
Now there is definitely a difference in, I don't know if it's 2018 or 19 where actually the STI got kind of a facelift. So if you look at the front grille, it's actually lifted and the lip is lifted. It's an inch or two higher.
Really?
But one of the biggest thing in my mind that stands out of any of the body styles has to be the Bug Eye WRX.
It's got to be the most popular one. It's got to be the most, most popular one. I don't know why I said it twice.
I wasn't made for long. To me, it's got a sense of an aggressive looking style. I always loved it. More specifically, I always loved the Bug Eye wagons. One of my best friends, Pizza John, you know him.
Yeah.
He had a 2002, I believe, Subaru WRX wagon, silver. Okay. Just amazing car. And it was pretty zippy for having 227 horsepower at the time, which I believe those numbers are correct. Very zippy car. A lot of fun, pretty quick. And so I was thinking, we just fixed my STI the other day. We got to do some suspension stuff.
Right.
And it just got me thinking, I really, miss the older styles. I'm at work the other day and this guy comes up to me and is like, hey, look at this, Muller. You might like this. So I'm looking at it and it's a 2002 Subaru Impreza WRX. Okay. For the right price, no title, but was built for like rallycross, autocross. Just goes along with the SCCA guidelines for what you need to have in your vehicle to participate in those events. He's asking such a low price that I contacted him. I kind of chatted him up for a while. Been like, hey, dude, is this real? Like, for me, it seemed too good to be true. Then you got hit with the no title issue. Now, being in this state, that's going to be a super easy fix for us because there's ways to get around that and ways to fix it so you can title that car.
Oh, good.
So super cool fucking car. Super interesting. And for the right price, it's already been gutted. So, and when you'll hear a lot of these like dudes say, oh, I gutted the car. And I feel like it's very hard to find people that do a true gut of a car. Like you can take out the rear,
the back seats out.
Yeah, you took the bow. Yeah, it's gutted. No, it's not, dude. How about you remove all the door cards? You remove all the speakers. You maybe like just tack weld the doors shut.
Did they have electric windows back then?
They did.
So you probably want to pull the window motors out.
Yeah, pull all those out. Take the speakers out. Take all the carpet off. Take all the sound deadening material, the asphalt-based sound deadening material off the bottom with dry ice. Take the roof liner off. Smash out the back windows. Replace them with plexiglass. Do everything, right? And see exactly
Slash the tires to get that heavy air out of there.
Yeah, you don't want heavy air. You want to actually run them with helium. So he did a mild, very mild, what would you say, weight reduction to it. Very nothing that I would even consider a weight reduction, which
Well,
is
that's
fine.
fine anyway, because that's one of those jobs when you decide you're converting this vehicle into a race car. It is no longer like a street car or something you might have it as a daily. Like that is a fun project to rip shit out of your car and decide this is it. We're going this way. That's a lot of fun. It's just easy. It doesn't cost anything to take things off
Yeah,
of the
it doesn't
car.
cost it. Like you said, it doesn't cost anything to get where you want to be with that car. You have a vision, and you can already start jumping right into that and getting it to where it is.
Are you doing AC delete?
Probably, yeah.
I don't see why not.
I don't see why not either. Just take the AC off and get a smaller belt. Easy.
Yeah.
Be super easy. Probably some lightweight pulleys. I don't know. I'm not really thinking of going too heavy into the engine. It's got rebuilt. It's got the heads are refreshed. They're freshly rebuilt. It's got a very mild, reliable tune on it. So I'm assuming it's not pushing any extraneous amount of psi through the engine.
Like what would that be? Like 12 pounds?
So I think for the WRX, it would boost around something between 12.5 to 14.5.
Okay.
Was the stock psi. But the thing about those EJ20s is they're very good at holding boost because their cylinder walls are so thick. When you remember taking out my EJ25, when you're comparing the cylinder wall thickness of an EJ20 to an EJ25, the EJ20s are significantly more thick, right?
And why is that? Why didn't they beef up to 25?
I don't know. And one of my theories is that they just bored out the EJ20 to a 25. Now, that might be a little bit of a stretch. I'm not sure if that's exactly how it goes. I'm not actually sure if they use different cylinder head systems and stuff like that also because, I remember when we had that issue with my Subaru, it literally looks like someone put an EJ20 valve in my EJ25 head. Remember that tiny little valve we had?
Yeah, well, we had to get in there. We had to get in and pull that valve because it wasn't sealing off. Turns out the valve's just way too small.
And it wasn't even a burnt valve. A burnt valve wouldn't burn that perfectly symmetrical at all.
No, they look all gnarled up.
It did. Yeah, it would look on all. It is nothing was wrong with it. It was a perfect valve, just smaller than the other fucking 16 valves, 4, 8, 12, 16, other 15 valves,
15
right?
valves, yeah.
Yeah, it's like so much smaller. And I remember messaging everybody and sending the pictures like, what do you think? What do you think? I got a buddy on Instagram who builds Subaru engines religiously up in Canada. And he was like, I've never seen this before in my life. He was like, have you ever gotten into the engine before? I'm like, no, not at all. So I don't know where that error must have been. Maybe it was built before I bought the car and maybe had a head refresh and they just...
Well, it's so weird that like when you bought this vehicle, obviously you got it from a dealer and I'm sure they did an inspection. They probably didn't bust the engine open, but you didn't purchase it already throwing a bunch of codes.
No, not at all.
And then you drive around for a little while and start throwing these codes, and it's got to be that. I mean, you fix the valve issue, the codes are gone, and obviously this one valve in that cylinder you're getting the code for,
cylinder number 2,
is just smaller. It doesn't make any sense.
Nope.
It's such a weird phenomenon.
Yeah, it was super weird.
It's weird that for at least a time, it was sealing off enough to make compression because you were probably getting zero compression towards the end of that thing.
I don't
That's
even
why
know.
It would smell like gas.
Yeah, it would. You could
running.
smell just the fuel was just dumping and just getting pushed right out those exhaust valves. It was the cylinder number 2 exhaust valves. You could smell it. It was insane.
That's also why there was no carbon buildup. There was no burning.
There was no burning. I don't know. I have no idea. It was a very weird circumstance. One of those things that maybe just, I guess, we'll never really answer to. Who knows? I know I reached out to everybody and they're like, we've never seen this before. We have no idea. Some Subaru techs are like, this is weird. I don't even know what to tell you. So,
well, what were people telling you when you first had this issue? What kind of suggestions were they giving you on that EJ20?
Everyone was like, oh, was it a burnt valve? And then I sent them the picture and they're like, no. Actually, I'll probably put a picture in here during this little portion of the podcast. Glance at your screen and I'll put a picture in here of exactly what we're looking at with that valve. And you just take a look and you tell me what you think because, email us, hit us up in your podcast. Let us know what you think. I'm very curious because that is too perfect. It's like a perfect storm. Like it's sealed and then it didn't. It sealed just enough to get me through some of my warranty and then it just didn't. So I have no idea. They really didn't give me anything. Everyone was at a loss.
And your valve seats weren't all jacked up either.
Nope. Perfect. I lapped him. I lapped him when I took the head apart originally. And I originally thought it was a ringland failure. I thought it was my ringland's kind of fucked up, but I didn't notice any scoring on any of the walls. I didn't notice my piston rings from the previous pistons were fucked up. So that kind of like, I rebuilt the bottom end. We put it back together. We got the same code. Then I redid it again. And then that happened. So then when we finally got the heads apart and I really examined cylinder number 2, that's when we kind of found that issue.
Hey, let me go ahead and turn you back towards this 2002 WRX.
Oh, yeah. So the EJ20 versus EJ25, the EJ20s are very well known for holding high amounts of boost because of the thickness of their cylinder walls. When you look at the EJ25 and how thin those cylinder walls are, there is a substantial amount of risk when running very high boost pressures that you could possibly crack a cylinder wall, a jacket, whatever it may be. It's just not as strong. So a lot of people will run EJ20s. I've seen STIs that have the EJ25. They'll do EJ20 swaps because they want to build.
They'll swap to a smaller.
They'll
motor.
swap to a smaller displacement because it's able to run more boost. And when you look at the equation and the formula for more power, more air means more fuel means more power, right? Very basic.
Right.
There's a lot more.
So long as you have the appropriate stoichiometric balance.
Exactly. It goes a little more into that, but so that's the general consensus and the general formula for that. So if you're able to just boost that 2-liter to high heaven, there's plenty of 2-liters out there that run 600 plus horsepower. Now, to get what I'm running right now in my STI, I would not push any more PSI. I think it's boosted on like 22 PSI. That's about as max as I would go.
Right, I agree with you. Like your car right now is at that zone where you are pushing significantly more than factory. It comes out about what, 360 give or take, and
no, like upper 400s.
From the factory?
Oh, no. From factory, it's 307.
307. Okay.
307
and now
310.
you're pushing like 450 about ballpark?
Yeah. 450, I'd say is a good estimate. And I know the torque supersedes the.
So you've added 150, 160 horsepower,
yeah.
Which certainly is not nothing.
Yeah.
And you can tell when you get behind the wheel of that, and that all-wheel drive will just drag you forward.
Yeah.
I don't know, like that's one of the first all-wheel drive vehicles that I've got a chance to really be in and really do some serious pulls in. Most of the time growing up, we would have rear wheels or some front wheels or a couple of guys with some Civics, stuff like that. I mean, what other great like car options are there for all-wheel drive but your Subarus?
Audi,
yeah.
Audi. Fuck.
I remember they used to run a lot of Audis in Group B. Are you familiar with that?
They did. Well, hold on. I got into that, but I got another one real quick. Ford Focus RS.
Oh, yeah.
And they really pioneered the way with that Ford Focus RS because at that point they introduced torque vectoring differentials. Basically, the way that works is like when my car has the same thing. When I put that thing in track mode, kind of like, in a tank when you go to turn, it'll slow down the inside tire of whatever you're going and speed up the outside. You kind of pivot.
Yeah.
Kind of like how that works. So I remember... I was reading up on this, and basically the way it works, that system is it'll actually apply brakes to the inside tire. It'll apply brakes, right, to the inside tire, so you can pivot around these corners when you're in track mode. And, that's just one of the things. Audi is what it comes into. Subaru is what it comes into. And, yeah, I mean, just a great all-wheel drive system. Everyone shits on the S10. It's like, oh, you just put an STI in. And, yeah, I kind of get that. It's kind of like the Honda game, where people make a bad fucking rap for their car group or their car scene because of the bullshit they do. And then it really bothers me when people shit on me for my Subaru because, I put upwards of $16,000 in that car and my literal blood, sweat, and tears and my whole life is in that car. Everything I've ever done that means something to me is inside of that car.
I think the crazy thing about that car when I think about it, it's 2017. So what's that make it? 5 years old? Not even?
Yep.
And you'd think with a car that's still relatively on the newer side of things, you don't think about a car like that having its engine out as many times as you have.
Yeah, I think we're up to 7 now, yeah.
But
I think like my biggest gripe about that is like when people shit on me for the Subaru fucking shit, like, oh, you just go to an STI, you got an STI. It's like, hey, listen, man, until you take your fucking car in your own garage, take it apart, and build your own car with your own 2 hands, your own time and money, you don't get to shit on my car.
I know we had guys at work when we were starting to break this thing down and we're looking at each other. We're like, well, I've got some experience working on cars. Yeah. And you're like, well, I've got some experience working on cars. Surely we can figure this shit out because we never really did like a full STI engine build before. That's not really under our belt at that point.
I was familiar with it. I've done a 1 or 2 beforehand, but by no means an aficionado of the EJ series engine.
We go to work on that thing though, and everybody's telling us at work, you guys are going to blow this car up. You're going to send a cylinder through the fucking head. First of all, that's not even how that would work. That wouldn't be the point of failure. And it was weird too when people would say, well, this is going to explode, that's going to explode. They're almost confessing how little they know about auto mechanics themselves. Like that's not going to happen. If there's a point of failure, it's not going to be that.
And until you take your own fucking car apart in your own garage and do your own work and you put your own effort and time and money into something, You don't get that right to talk shit about my car. I don't care who you are, what you have. You could have a brand new GTR right off the lot, or XYZ, fill in the blank car. You don't get to, and it goes with any car brand. If it's a Honda that a guy spent all of his hard-earned money on in his own garage and built himself, you don't get that fucking right to talk bad on somebody's car. No matter what, if you bought a nice car, or you have a nice car, you don't get that right, and you don't get to say that shit. So, and we had everybody saying us, you're never going to get it done. It's never going to happen. You can't do this, yada, yada, yada. And that drove me a lot more when we were doing this whole build together, is at
Yeah.
the end of it, when it finally ran, I have to tell you, I don't remember having a better feeling in my life than that first startup and hearing it just run so smoothly, and just thinking, hey, if we got torqued wrong on the connecting rod bearings, the connecting rods to the crank, right? It might just start, it just might spin a bearing right now and start knocking. Who knows?
Yeah.
If we timed this wrong, and the timing on that is such a bitch, because I don't know if I'm just an idiot when I was doing the timing, but I did it all by the book. I should have got better cam gear holding tools, but I didn't because I was being fucking lazy. And it was a bitch. And if we did one thing wrong, $16,000 of my money is now out of the drain, down the drain. I remember us having boxes piled up the side of the fucking garage when we were doing the rebuild of
It
this
looked
whole
like
car.
Christmas in there, man. But
It-
box after box.
Box after box, Brandon. Pistons, crank, valves, bronze valve guys, springs, retainers, connecting rods, fuel
I remember
system.
after we started that thing though, man, and we got it going, and then like a week or two later, there was a car show coming up. We drove that thing to the car show, and I was just, and that's something that like we can go to a car show, you and I, and everybody wants to ask you about your build, and that's cool, and you could recite off verbatim everything you've done to that car, and that's great. But we would go around too and check out everybody else's build, and it wasn't like a Subaru only car meet. There was everything there. I think there were some pickup trucks there.
Yeah.
And we would check it out. We saw like
There's a mutual respect for the effort and stuff, no matter how little,
what was that guy's car there? Was that a Magnum?
Oh, he was some army vet guy, right?
Yeah, it's like a LS.
Oh no, I think it was like a Chrysler 300 or something
yeah, it
with
was
the
a
Hemi.
300.
And like I think it was supercharged, but he had a twin turbo kit. He was saying,
Yeah, I mean, you could tell this guy put some cheddar into this car.
"Oh yeah, some money into it."
And it looked clean.
One of my favorite moments about that, and I believe you were there with me. I think it was you, and when me and you and Prince went to one of my meets.
Yeah, he brought his Supra.
Yeah, he brought his Mark IV Supra 94, and we got to this meet, and I remember all these other Supra guys. Like, it was just so nice having this community of other Supra guys come up to me like, "Yo, dude, like we talked at like 4 or 5 meets ago. What'd you do?" And like, just being able to teach everybody else the knowledge and the mistakes I made and the improvements I made and everything that went into it. And just being able to share that common knowledge with everybody instead of being one of those guys that is snotty and a cocksucker and probably sucks his own dick for fun and refuses to tell anybody anything and just sits back and shits on everybody. And there's no sense in like knowing something and learning something so amazing if you can't teach somebody the same thing. There's no harm in that.
Oh, and it's also great to go situations like that. And you did definitely spend some time talking to the other Subaru guys, and like they'll give you a little bit of advice about, hey, check this out. Try to see if you can, especially if you're having like a fault or an issue that you can't figure out on your own. You can ask those guys, hey, what do I do for this? And same the other direction too. You can now be that guy that goes, hey, I've been through all this, and I've had this engine in and out of this car. I've looked at every square inch of this thing. I've had every bolt off of this motor, damn near.
Yeah, every single bolt. I remember going to bed at night, and I would actually run through the process in my head. So I'd run through exact engine removal and then disassembly down to every nut and bolt and torque, and just recite it in my head over and over and over every single night. It's almost like an exploded view of it. So, but I know before we talked a shit ton about the Subaru, we always somehow come on to the Subaru just a little bit. Well, you mentioned Group B.
Oh yeah.
Well,
So
tell me what you know about Group B and just your unbiased. It doesn't have to be an educated thing. Like, what do you know about Group B outside looking in? How does it look when you look at Group B? And like, maybe explain it for people who don't know what Group B rally racing was.
So great question, and maybe I'm exactly the person to give sort of a broad overview because I don't have a lot of the fine details on it. And so Group B, I think it was back in the early 80s. It was obviously just a step below the A group, the fastest of cars, but there was a lot less regulation on these vehicles.
Yes.
And
little to none.
It didn't last long, only a couple of years, 3 years, 4 years, something like that. And these cars would be crazy fast. They didn't do much for like keeping the crowd out of the way. I think some cars sailed into the crowd and stuff like that, had some fatalities. They ended up shutting it down and like re-debuting it years later under like a new name and a lot more safe,
I
a
think
little more
did that
tame.
translate to WRC World Rally Champ or World Rally Class like WRC? Maybe that translated to that. I'm not sure. So like I remember the cars there. Audi was a big name.
Yeah,
Lancia was another big name. I think BMW, Alfa Romeo was in there too. Maybe some BMW, something in there.
definitely some Subaru.
Some was there Subaru?
Yeah.
I know BMW was definitely in there. Yeah,
I think that's where the Ford Focus RS originated, wasn't it?
the RS 1200 is it? The really weird looking one that kind of has like the bug eye lenses, something like that. When you get a
yeah.
chance, look it up because I'm more interested to know about that car. But I mean, so basically, Group B was like the most ballsiest racing you could do. The restrictions were little to none. That includes safety and performance and power.
Well, I think that was probably about your only limiting factor on the race was one. I think you couldn't have too much horsepower.
No, you could. No, yeah, you could.
I think
Wait.
there's probably some sort of homologation limit
Wait,
for that.
in Group B, they were no. I don't think there was any horsepower regulation at all. It was 600. They were running 600 plus horsepower cars out there. If you look at WRC and some of the big rally races now, some of those Ford Focus STs, RSs, and Subarus, they're only running like 375 horsepower, like maybe 400 max. Like they are not running extenuous amounts of horsepower. Group B was like 600 plus, and that's really where in Group B, rear wheel drive, it was kind of like it's before all-wheel drive took off in the rally race scene. Rear-wheel drive like made its like final debut. Like it's like, hey, this is the way we're sending rear-wheel drive out in the rally race scene because obviously all-wheel drive dominates when it comes to stuff like that. And the other thing is like that. Gary once told me all-wheel drive is fun at all, but you have to go fast to have fun in all-wheel drive. Rear-wheel drive, you don't have to be going that fast to have fun. You can kick your clutch and fucking, get your back tire spinning. You know how it is. We both had rear wheel drive cars before.
I had this old ass Ranger,
So
man.
did I.
Had probably, I don't know, 75 horsepower or something pathetic.
Something pathetic, yeah.
But I mean, you could just swing that thing all around. I would go to these gravel parking lots and just cut donuts just to swing that
Just for
truck
fun,
around.
yeah. So like Group B was really that swan song for wheel wheel drive and rallying. People really like, especially Lancia, just gave it the most proper send off in like the most spectacular fashion. And Alfa Romeo the same. And it was actually what was really cool about Group B because I'm sure rally racing. I'd like to put a bet that maybe women in rally racing isn't like very predominant now. Like
I would expect not.
I don't want to say like it's bad or anything like that, but I think it's more like a male dominated in a sense sport that happens. But Group B retired some of the best women in rallying. And they just had some of the best female rally racers out there. But what was even better about Group B, just as equally as good as watching a Group B rally race, was the fans. Have you seen some of those videos of the fans watching a Group B rally race?
Yeah, I think I've seen a couple. They're just going nuts, man. They'll be on the road, and as the cars come by, they'll run off the road real quick.
Yep. They'll be literally standing in the road. I don't know why. Maybe it was for a good picture, but you look at some of the Group B fan photos, and they get some of the best photos you'll ever see. Now, when I was going to a bunch of rally races when I was younger, and I was a crew chief for a little while, and we would go out there, and we would get like a media pass, or we would go into the woods and kind of find our way through the woods and get to like a taped off section. And that's really where media was allowed to be. Media got a little closer than the spectators, but, it was very, very, it wasn't as dangerous as it used to be. And Group B fans were almost as crazy as the racers themselves. You got to be just to drive some of these vehicles to their max potential and just destroy it. And are you familiar with the BMW M1?
No, I don't think
the BMW is like BMW's troubled supercar. And that made one of its like final debuts, or like, I don't know what you would call it. Like it made a debut or its final debut in Group B.
Wasn't there like a sick ass Porsche with like 4 headlights on it or something like that?
When you look at it at a quick glance, it almost looks like styling of a DeLorean. It's very flat, very wide, pop-up headlights, It's got like some of them have like massive wings on it. It's got like a very like sloped rear window. It comes down like this, like quite a bit. But it's a very iconic BMW. So, but the one company that ruled Group B, can you guess who it was? Who ruled? Very common car company.
Audi.
Yeah, yeah. The Audi Quattro was literally pushing out 592 horsepower at the time.
Good God.
I could only like 600 horsepower on a street car is pretty fucking good.
And you got to realize too, like these roads are not improved roads at all. They're dirt.
No, and what people who rally race will tell you, say you're like number one. So you got state SS1, right? You're in the first stage and you're the first car to go out. Those roads are like in primo condition, right?
As good as they're going to get anyway.
But then what happens to like the 20th car that has to drive through this road that's just been torn up between all the rest of the cars? Your road conditions go down so much. And it's a really different monster as those roads start to degrade, how your car is going to handle and interact with that surface.
Yeah.
So, you know, and Group B was very, 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 very big in Europe. You know, a lot of Scandinavian drivers and a lot of ice, a lot of snow courses and stuff like that. But, you know, Nissan and Toyota also made an appearance in Group B. So, you know, Group B is just one of those wild things that I really wish they'd bring back. I don't think they ever will. You know, what bothers me, because you know what they're switching to now is those electronic F1 cars.
I've seen those.
I fucking hate it, dude. I was watching this video of them in New York doing like an F1 race or E-race, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's just silent. You hear that?
Well, and the pit stops are completely different. Like you don't obviously refuel a F1 battery powered car. They do an entire car swap.
Oh yeah, they get out and run to the next car.
Yeah, I don't know. That's
stupid. That's not fun. Have you seen Cadillacs? There was a viral video circulating of Cadillacs electronic to petrol powered supercar.
I don't know.
It's just this weird, crazy Cadillac that will drive away and go like the electric hum.
Yeah.
And then it goes and starts up in this monstrous fucking sounding, you know, internal combustion engine car. Absolutely insane.
Wait, is that the what is it? XT4 or whatever it is?
I think the XT4 is a daily driver.
That's like a crossover, I think.
Yeah. XTS. Yes, they got a lot. I had a CTS. I had a 2006 Cadillac CTS at one point. Great car. Fit a lot of big women in it. Fit a lot. So anyway, hey, listen, Group B, great. You know, a lot of fun. We're going to take a quick break and we will come back at you here with our next segment.
And you're listening to In Gear Podcast, the island's weirdest podcast.
Hell yeah.
Thomas and Justin, these are your hosts.
Yeah, we are.
Let me ask you something real quick, Tom.
I'm listening.
You ever get with a female and you just last embarrassingly short?
Every fucking night, dude. What do you mean?
Every fucking
What
night.
do you mean? Hey, dude, you ever fuck a girl? Like, so I was once with this girl and like, I remember fucking her. And I had to come and like, I want to say 4 pumps, like
Wow.
right hand on the Bible. Like it was an in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, bam. And so I pumped up, 4 pumped. And I came.
Good job.
But I wasn't going to tell her that. So I actually took my penis at the time. And you know how you kind of get soft after you finish? Like you're not as erect as you were, but you might still have a little bit of a half chub going on, right?
Yeah, sometimes
And I remember
more.
pulling out and bending. You know that bend when it goes in like this?
Oh, yeah.
It bends as it goes in. So I remember actually at some point having to lay my penis vertically on the hole and then stuff it in to the hole.
There's a term for that.
What's it called?
You're pushing rope.
Yeah, I was pushing rope. I also had this girl that made me stuff thongs in her vagina.
Good job.
No, dude, she was like, hey, I want you to like put things inside of my body. I was like, all right, cool, sure, whatever. She's like, here's 7 pairs of underwear.
Oh, that's a lot.
Stuff all of them into my vagina.
Well,
So I did it. But yes, Justin, have I ever lasted embarrassingly short? Yeah, a million
And
times.
what do? Do you apologize? Do you cry?
No, sometimes I'm like, yeah, that was great. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And like, here's the thing, like, okay, cool. Like, I lasted 5 minutes. Who's the real Joker here? I came, you didn't.
Yeah, first one done, I win.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I'm glad you asked that, Justin. It's nice to hear some tits from you over there.
Hey, so I'm not sure that I brought this to your attention as of yet. I just happen to have come into a PlayStation 5.
Really?
Yeah, now I'm a little late to the party. What's that thing been out now? Like 2 years?
All right. First off, I am a part of that. Like, I'm an Xbox guy,
Yeah.
and I hate the PS5.
Well, you're welcome to have that opinion.
Well, oh yeah. Well, my opinion's right, Justin. So the reason being is like I'd love someone like if you have the same opinion, I'm not going to be that guy that's like shoot us a comment and a like, but really comment because I want to know if this is just like naturally the way it goes because I've seen a lot of these TikToks and stuff.
Oh, I 100% agree. Like, if there's one thing I know our listeners do, it's play video games. Like, go ahead and tell us what you're thinking.
So, what I'm saying is, like, I was a PS2 guy.
Yeah.
Then I took a break. Then Xbox 360, Xbox One series.
And what'd you come in with them? Was it like Halo or Gears of War?
Well, no, I don't remember. We're getting too far ahead. I want to kind of like instill this image in your mind real quick. PS2,
Yeah.
360, 1. A lot of people would go like PS2, original Xbox, PS3, PS4, PS5. So there's like this happening trend of like that I've noticed of how people kind of get into their final system at the time. Now, at this point, I think a lot of people are either, correct me if I'm wrong, are either chosen PlayStation or Xbox, especially with these new gen systems that have these capabilities that they have. A lot of people have chosen, this is what I'm doing, this is the system I'm with. There's like, I know South Park did an episode called like, the System Wars, Xbox versus PlayStation.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, we kind of trailed off, but you said that you just came into a PS5.
Yes.
And have you gotten the chance to really get into it, play? Like, what's going on with it?
Well, the thing of it is, like,
give me like first off opinions. I need to know.
It wouldn't be something that I would just go out of my way to get myself. It was actually my wife's purchase, but that, of course, invites me to play a little bit along with her.
Okay. Good.
So the thing of it is, I'm sure you're aware, file sizes on these games these days are getting humongous. You can get a 100 GB game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my Xbox has 1 terabyte.
Yeah, so ours came with the new God of War on there. I think it's about 96.
Oh, did you get like
gig.
the special God of War edition PS5 or whatever the fuck it is?
Yeah, it's just a download for the game. It's not like it's like a God of War wrap. Or
wait, so it doesn't have anything on the system, God of War?
No, there's nothing like on the console that says it's God of War edition or anything like that.
Oh,
it's just a download.
Again, I know this, like we did this last time we trail off. You just told me you got the God of War edition.
Right.
Do you
Bundle,
remember, like, kind of back in the day, I remember having the 360 that was, like, the Halo 3 edition 360 that had a special skin on the outside. You had an R2-D2 Star Wars Xbox 360 that did the beep, boop, beep, boop, beep when you started up. You had... Then when you got into the Forza one, you had like a Forza one that had like an engine starting up as you press the button. So Xbox really had a lot of those systems where they directly correlated to the bundle you got.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a special edition per se.
I did. But
it's
you just said you had the God of War one, right?
Yeah.
Well, I had the PS4 Pro God of War, and it was like all skinned out with God of Wars. But the new one, you bought the God of War edition. It came with the new God of War game, right? Which I've seen a lot of content. It looks great.
Yeah, actually, I think I was reading somewhere, coincidentally, just before purchasing the Xbox, or I'm sorry, the PlayStation, that this game since coming out, it's gonna win a whole bunch of like video game awards and stuff like that. It's real popular, and I've played it a little bit. It's pretty fun. But like I'm trying to tell you though, so it's about a terabyte hard drive. I think it's 800 gigs on my PS5. You said you have a terabyte on your Xbox.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you buy a new iPhone that's like 128 gigs. There's like a gig out of there for like software and stuff like that.
So I'm looking at this, and by the time you have your system software, it takes so many gigs, and then these 90-ish gigabyte games, you can put, I don't know, 4, 6 on there or so,
Yeah,
and
that
you're
seems about right.
full. We were looking at a solution to that. You can get these external hard drives that go through a USB, and I know my wife, she has a whole shitload of PlayStation
Your
4
wife's quite the
data.
gamer, isn't she? Because I've known like when we first, met years and years ago, and then you and your wife got together years and years ago. I remember you telling me like I came over one time. I saw this like PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, that's not mine. That's my wife's. My wife games. I was like, oh shit,
Yeah,
okay.
she plays a lot of the games where you go around and hunt for things, and she's not like a first-person
Like
shooter.
a
You
more
won't find
open
her on
world
Modern
type
Warfare.
game, would you say?
I'm sorry?
Would you say like a more open world type game?
Yeah,
Like where you
yeah.
kind of do your own thing. You can go off and do like the little fun bowl, like kind of like Grand Theft Auto.
Grand
Like
Theft Auto, I know she...
I'll go on there and I'll just like shoot up some people. I'll go fly some aircraft, or you can play the story mode.
Yeah, I
Same
know
thing,
she
kinda?
got into like Assassin's Creed. The most recent one, I think, was Valhalla.
Is I think that is. Yeah, that's like is that a pirate? Valhalla's
No,
Vikings.
that's like a Nordic, like...
Oh, that's dope.
Everybody's doing that since the Thor movies and the Marvel took off with all that like Nordic stuff.
So kind of
Everybody
like
wants to do it.
Skyrim ish.
I don't know. I haven't played that one in particular. And I know like back when Pirates of the Caribbean was huge, that's when Assassin's Creed came out with that
Black Flag.
Assassin's Creed Black
Black
Flag.
Flag. Yes.
Yeah.
That looked really cool.
And so you can just see these trends from like movies and other big things that kind of bleed down into other pieces of entertainment.
I got a friend Christina who literally she loves Assassin's Creed. And I really never got into that. I'm not sure why. I was a fan of the big fan of first person shooters, growing up and stuff like that. And I'm sure we'll dip into their older games and retro games that we're into.
Sure.
I was a big fan of first person shooters, but I definitely wasted a lot of my time on games like RuneScape. I'm not sure if you're familiar.
Oh yeah.
RuneScape, Skyrim, Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Fallout New Vegas. Those games were like you can dedicate and waste a lot of your life to. Skyrim being the biggest one. I think maybe a lot of our listeners, a lot of people they just wasted their lives on Skyrim, like immense hours.
I know I put a lot of time into World of Warcraft back in the day.
Whoa. Hold on. Hey, you see me?
Yeah, I
You
see you over
here?
there.
Hey, listen. Back that up.
Yes.
You said World of Warcraft.
Yes.
As in like South Park, like the Leroy Jenkins video, like
yes.
like Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah.
World of Warcraft. You played a lot of World of Warcraft?
Oh yeah, at one point in time.
No, hold on, because I know nothing about this. Like, you're telling me you have spent like a substantial amount of time.
100%. Yeah.
Wow.
So, myself, our technical director Sean,
Yeah,
and a couple of his brothers, we would play a lot of World of Warcraft. I think
and that's a game. I'm pretty sure you guys can all play together, right?
You can play together.
yeah.
You can
Like
join,
online?
and you can go and like fight monsters together in dungeons events and stuff like that.
Jesus. It's that World of Warcraft is overhead view, kind of, right?
Yeah,
Like it's not a first person like
they
a
might
Call of
it.
Duty.
Yeah.
Is it more like a Grand Theft Auto, where it's like kind of close right behind it, or is it more like topical over the head?
I think you can make adjustments to your viewpoint, but the controls and the actions remain the same for the characters.
Okay. And tell me more. I'm interested.
Yeah, so we would play a lot, and I think the most time, and if any of our listeners might know this, but they've come out with, I think, maybe approximately 10 different expansions to take your characters to new worlds at this point.
What, like expansion packs, as in like if you have the basic World of Warcraft game, and I said to you today, Justin, say today I bought regular World of Warcraft, and you over there who's seasoned has all these other packs, can we still play together, or do I have to have all the same things you have?
So usually I believe, and it's been years since I've played at this point, by the way. But I believe, let's say you're just starting out, but I have all the best upgrades. I have all the new expansions. Like I can go over to the world that you're allowed to access, but without the new expansions, you won't be able to access the new worlds.
Okay, that's kind of like what it was like in I know Modern Warfare 2 and like Black Ops 1 and 2 and probably like thereon. If I had these expansion packs, and me and you were in a party together and I went to try and play one of these, they're like, hey, these are disabled because one of these people in your party doesn't have those.
Yeah, I think I was looking. I burned so much time on this game, man. So when you
Can you
get
give me a
on,
realistic like time limit?
when you get on your character, you can look at the character's play log, how long you've actually played that character for. And I think of my most played character, I've been logged into that character for over a year of my life.
Are you talking about like year as in time wise, like hours based, or a year as in? So like for me, like when I look at Modern Warfare 2 stats and different stats of different games, it's hourly based. So like when I go on my Steam, I'll bring up, for example, a big game that I'm into, 7 Days to Die, which is a crafting zombie survival horror game.
Uh huh.
It'll tell me you have like 764 hours played. Or does it go by like day? Like how does
It'll
that
do the
work?
math for you. It will say like 1 year, 280 days, 12 hours and 14 minutes.
That's a hot fucking minute.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been on, and that's just the main character. I have side characters to put a little bit less time in.
And do you usually just always play the main character? I don't
I mean,
understand
that's
side
the thing
characters.
about it. That's how I accumulate so much time with that character is by playing it the most, obviously.
So do you mean like when you say main character, like in Skyrim for me, like one game I might spend a year playing one game as an archer, and then the next game that I start a whole new character, I might play that next game as like magic, Frank.
Absolutely. So your
Is that
main
kind of like
character,
what you're relating to?
yeah. So your main character, for me, I had a warrior that was a main character. At one point, it was one of the highest ranked warriors on my server because me and my buddies, the technical director, were putting so much time into this game to getting the high level achievements, high level quests done. And so he had like a lot of the best gear.
Oh wow.
But he was a warrior, so like his job was
What were you?
a warrior.
And he was a warrior also.
Oh no, my guy was the warrior. Our technical director Sean, I think at that time he was mostly playing a priest. So
Okay.
his
So you
job,
guys complement each other, kind of.
yeah.
Like you don't want to
so
have two warriors, right? I'm sure you could still make headway.
you
but
could do things, but like it's more complementary to say have like a. And there's certain classes you can do. It doesn't have to be a warrior, but like a
like
warrior.
a healer type and a warrior type.
A healer type was so he could heal the warrior, which is what they call it, like a tank type. So he can sit there and take damage and do some, but then your healer is going to heal him back up as he takes damage. And then maybe
Okay.
if you have a third or a fourth guy in your group, they can be the ones doing most of the damage to your target while you're sitting there getting the shit beat out of you.
Okay. So you spent quite a bit of time on that. All right. Now, I remember I mentioned before RuneScape. You're familiar with RuneScape?
I'm definitely familiar. I've never played.
Never played it. I know a couple of like my buddies that I'm still friends with. They like religiously play RuneScape.
Well, that's weird because I didn't think you had any friends.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I thought no one liked you.
Yeah, well, what's funny is like usually like you're always sucking my dick. So,
Wow.
that makes sense because you never have time to ask me about my friends.
Wow.
So back to World of Warcraft, you like how much do you think is it like one of those games where like you have to spend real life money to like get into? Like obviously no, I'm not talking about like you like we all buy expansion packs. But are you spending extra money for like are there buyable upgrades? Like can you progress very like if money wasn't an option, could you like get way above everybody else and like cuz like Fortnite, I don't think this is a maybe relatable, but like it's like it's not pay to play where like you pay to get better stuff, but with Fortnite you can get better skins and stuff like that. Like what was it like on World of Warcraft with that?
Yeah,
sort of
so
stuff?
first of all, let's go ahead and realize this game at this point in time is I don't know 17 years old. So when it first
Yeah.
came out, like buying upgrades and stuff was just completely not an option. Basically, the way the company Blizzard got their money was
Oh, Blizzard?
yeah, they would
Oh, okay.
they would charge a subscription, a monthly subscription to play the game, and you
So the game was free. You just had to pay the monthly subscription.
well, you purchased the game and you purchased a subscription.
Oh, that's a little expensive.
So it wasn't a load of money at the first that I recall, but
inflation.
you that's all you could, everybody had to pay the subscription fee, but there was no way to buy better gear or better enhancements. Like they got a subscription from you and everybody was on a relatively level playing field at that point.
Okay.
last time I was on World of Warcraft, which was probably 2 years ago, just to kind of see what's changed, they have since somewhat enacted sort of a pay-to-play system where you can pay real-world money to buy in-game gold, and that in-game gold, if you're smart and savvy with your money, can get you maybe some new pieces of gear or some upgrades or some enchantments.
And that was later on?
This is later on. Yeah, that was at that point probably 15 years.
Were you in World of Warcraft when it first came out?
No, I was just slightly behind that.
Like when you say slightly behind, like, because like for me, like when it comes to Call of Duty, I got in around one of the most iconic Call of Duties. I want to say like probably like in me like it was Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. I think it was Call of Duty 4, right? It was like the original Modern Warfare, and then they hit you with Modern Warfare 2, which everybody knows, no matter what age you are, there's a respect for Modern Warfare 2. It's a great game. So like I kind of came in late. There was Big Red 1. There was a couple other different Call of Duties that came out before that.
Right.
Were you in like how long of a time frame? Like years after, like a year after, like a game came out?
No, so the game originally came out, and I could be a little bit off of my time frame. I think it came out somewhere around 2002, 2004, somewhere in that window.
Okay.
And then that was just the original World of Warcraft at that point. And then they came out a year or two later with its very first expansion, World of Warcraft: The Burning Crusade. And that's where I got in, was at the Burning Crusade expansion.
What year? I'm going to ask you something that's probably like super crazy to ask, but
hit me.
Do you have a general year about what year that was?
Had to be probably 05.
I remember growing up, and because I know, like, and this is just like disclose this to our viewers and listeners, I know nothing about World of Warcraft, but I remember there was a time, I want to say maybe it was Mountain Dew. It was somebody, you know how everybody has their promotional things like, hey, buy this case of Mountain Dew, get double XP for like a fucking 24 hours, 48 hours.
Yeah.
I remember seeing like, I want to say Peyton Manning, the guy he's a very famous actor that played on King of Queens. He was, he was one of Doug's friends. Peyton Manning.
The football player Peyton Manning?
No, Peyton Manning or Peyton Oswald. Peyton Oswald.
Wow.
Peyton Oswald. My bad. Yeah, you're a football guy, so you know. So Peyton Oswald played one of the voices of the characters in the game. I think they had The Rock on there too, but they did commercials like, hey, buy this Pepsi, get this much or whatever the fuck in World of Warcraft. Do you ever remember any of those promotions?
I really don't remember that, no.
No. Well, you just kind of fucked up my whole segment because I was hoping you'd come with me with something cool and funny.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't remember that.
Well, how about you just lift up your shirt?
Actually, you did remind me of something that I thought we could touch on for 2 seconds. We'll probably circle back around to the video
Touch it hard.
games. So check this out. And this might be slightly before your time. Star Wars, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Oh, my God. Yes.
Do you remember Pepsi had a huge promo during Star Wars Episode 1?
So Episode 1... was, you know what? I need to Google this right now because I remember the Phantom Menace. I want to say that when Episode 1 came out, I want to say the Phantom Menace cover art was a picture of Padme.
Probably.
Let me Google this.
That was the
Justin,
one with the
Justin,
pod racers and everything.
Justin.
Yeah.
Keep them entertained. So I can look at the picture of this.
Oh, I'm entertaining. Yeah, so what I'm trying to tell you is back in the day when this was
so Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan Kenobi,
yes,
young Luke Skywalker,
yeah,
and
Anakin Skywalker.
Anakin and Padme in the back. Yeah, I remember that. That was the one, was Episode 1 where he fought Darth Maul?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Tracking now.
Yeah, so that movie, they had the pod racers and all that geeky stuff. And they came out with some huge promos. I believe the one was with Pepsi. And they had all these collectible cans. Each can had like one of the different characters on there. You could collect them all and have all the different cans. And then the one that everybody wanted was they were all blue cans. But the one that everybody wanted was the golden can. It had Yoda on it. It was a golden Yoda.
Oh, that sounds so fucking vaguely familiar.
And now, I think you won a big prize if you got the can or something.
That sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that. Are you a Star Wars fan at all, or are you just
No, I wouldn't say
you
I'm
wouldn't
big
say
into
you're
Star
a
Wars.
Star Wars aficionado. You would just say that you I'm sure you probably watched all the Star Wars.
I guess I've seen them all.
You've seen them all, but you're not someone that can quote it. Because
No.
I was trying to relate to you when you said Star Wars 1, and actually, I'm gonna be repetitive here. I'm gonna open up a new fucking window here on one of these computers. Let's see. Phantom Menace release date. Because I'm a little bit younger than you, and that was released in '99, so I would have been 4, dude.
Yeah, I would have been, let me do a little quick math here, about 14, 13 or so.
So let's look at episode 2, The Clone Wars. Let's see what the fucking release date for that was. I want to say 2003, 2005. Oh,
Wow.
oh, nope, no, 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 no. That was 2003,
2003?
2002.
2002.
And I honestly, Justin, like, let's just hop off on Star Wars real quick. I just want to chat about it with you real quick. I'm sorry. I know this is very off topic.
Oh, it's not breaking my heart. Like I said, I'm not
I'm
huge into
sorry.
Star Wars anyway.
Attack of the Clones, episode
Yes.
2. That I think that was one of my more favorites, but something that really rings a bell in my mind is episode 3.
Episode 3. That's a
And
big
when
one.
I think about Star Wars, and I know everyone, all those Star Wars heads out there who know a fuck ton about Star Wars are gonna fucking shit and be like, well, what about like the new ones? Like, what about like fucking? Oh my god, like
No, I don't think so. Most of your die-hard Star Wars fans,
it's a 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3.
they're stuck on those old ones, and
The
that's
original
fine, I
6.
guess. But I
Yeah.
think that's more. To be honest with you, I think this is the way it is with a lot of things in life. I think it's more the association of nostalgia than it is actually appreciation for the new film.
Okay, well, I remember like Star Wars 3 is probably like the first movie out of the Star Wars saga
Okay.
that I remember. And my mother, who rest in peace, she was like a massive Star Wars fan. She had seen all of them, and she came to me when I was very young. At the time, I was probably around 10 years old, 11 coming on 12. And she goes, "Hey, Thomas, Star Wars came out, and I'm seeing these previews on the TV and stuff like that." And she's like, "Let's go watch Star Wars together." And one of my fondest memories with my mother have to be her taking me to the local Cinema 6 over there in Honesdale, Pennsylvania, and we sat there together and we watched Star Wars 3 Revenge of the Sith.
I'll be damned.
Yeah. It was super dope. And I'm a big Star Wars fan. I not diehard to the sense where like, I can recite everything. Like, there's people that go into lore of Star Wars. One of our best friends, Bergeron Renee, he'll go into that and he will like know all the lore on different books and stuff like that. And well, this is what this is. But I'm just like a basic 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
That's
I
how it is
agree
for
with
me.
you. Like, I think Renee actually. I think he reads the books. I think he watches the movies.
Oh, he does everything, man.
He probably gets into the fan fiction.
He
to be
has,
honest with you.
yeah, he has he has this whole. I went over to his place. Like, we went over to his place one day. I don't know if you saw it. Remember when we went over to his place to watch some? We played some board game or some shit, and he had this whole table laid out with like a Risk style game.
Okay.
Risk, where like you
Of
have all these
course.
armies. Risk style game that was like Star Wars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He's like a very, God bless his soul. He's so into it, but I'm like an original guy.
Yeah, I mean, I can appreciate a good Star Wars film, but I'm not head over heels about them.
So we got way off topic. We did Star Wars, and the reason we got onto Star Wars is because I brought up to you. I remember World of Warcraft having some sort of
The promos.
promotion.
Yeah.
Do you remember any of those promos? Because I remember it was this like ogre type guy in the commercial. He had big teeth, big sharp teeth in his mouth, and he was an ogre, and he had some like weird voice. It was kind of like a comedic type commercial. Do you remember any of the promos, or
I
like
don't have any recollection of that.
was that like, I don't know, like so you don't have any recollection of it? I definitely remember it, but like, how long of a time span did you spend playing World of Warcraft? Was it like since you were a kid to like?
No, so in approximately 2004, 2005 time frame, I graduated high school in 2005. So that was that age.
Okay.
16, 17, 18 years old. And I played off and on through the years, probably until I want to say about 2017 might have been the last time I logged on
Really?
and really got into playing. And then I think I logged on again probably for a month or so in 2020.
Did you find yourself as interested in the game logging on way later
No,
than
so
you
the
were
thing
originally?
was the last time that I logged into World of Warcraft, I almost immediately realized the reason I had stopped playing.
What was that? I want to know.
So,
It
like any
advanced too
game,
quick. They put too much in there too quick.
it can be, you know, I've played it out. Yes, I haven't done all the quests or all the missions and done all the content that there is because there's just so much.
But you're pretty damn close.
But I would know.
Oh,
But the thing is,
okay.
it's humongous. You can't really be that
I
close.
had no idea.
But the thing is, at the end of the day, it just feels like, okay, here we go. We go fight the boss. We kill the boss.
You kind of know how
We
to
get
work
the
through the motions.
treasure. We fight the next boss. We kill the boss. We get the treasure. So on and so forth.
Okay.
Yes, there are other things to do in World of Warcraft, but at the end of the day, it all seems like we're just doing the same thing. And really, to get to where you're getting like the high level gear and equipment and really dominating the game, you have to contribute a unrealistic amount of time to this game.
So to be competitive, you have to be in it, and like
Yes.
you just said, dedicate an unrealistic. Like anybody who like has a job and a life and a family, it would be very difficult to be able to dedicate that amount of time to them.
At
It-
the height of my playing days, probably in the, let's say,
I want to hear this. And the
2008,
hype,
2009,
you were,
2010.
you're fucking World of Warcraft oriented. Like you are like all about it. Like that's what you're doing.
I really was. For
How
a
long were you
while.
playing?
I had some very high level characters.
You were competitive.
Yes. And I gotta say, that might have stretched out maybe as far as 2014 ish. I played for a long time. That's a lot of years. And you need a lot of years to create.
How much were you spending a day?
At times, I mean, it would be during the week. I'd get off work and maybe I'd put 4 hours into the game, 6 hours, go to bed and wake up, go to work, get off work, do it again. On the weekends, I might get up and play video games all damn day.
Continuously.
Just and you got to put that time in. You got to be going into these different dungeons. Some of these dungeons can take hours and hours to complete. It might take
And you can't
4
stop.
hours.
You can't stop halfway
No, you
through.
can't just quit. There are other real world players relying on you to be there.
Yeah.
Um,
So like relatable to that, what I would say a game called 7 Days to Die that I just mentioned earlier. It's a zombie crafting survival horror game. I used to play it on an Xbox One when the Xbox One first came out.
Yeah.
And it was super good because, it was crafting. It was like if Minecraft met, Dead Rising met Left 4 Dead. It was a mix between all those, it wasn't like the game shoved the threat of zombies down your throat to the point where you're like, oh my God, everything I do, I'm fighting zombies. But you were able, like me and you, Justin, we were to play, like, we can go out and be like, hey, Justin, let's go search this, grocery store, kill some zombies, get some supplies we need, and bring it back to our base. Very cooperative and very, like, team-based. So
well, I
with 7
think
days,
for its time, that was kind of a unique game too.
it was.
I think there
It
are
was
a
like
lot
the
more
first.
like that out now.
No, it wasn't. At the first time it was. And I remember I met one of my best friends, Caleb, and who is now in a band or has been for years called Next to Nothing. You can find them on YouTube. And, very, very good band. Always impresses me with every song they put out. And I remember playing with him. I met him just one time on 7 Days to Die. We started playing and he hit me up and he was like, hey dude, I'd like to play with you again. Let's play again. So I remember the next day waking up and he's in Brisbane, Australia. So
Okay.
there's a big time difference there. So we would actually sync up our clocks, set our alarms, and I remember talking to him the next day or something like, hey dude, like I've been on for 6 hours already. I want to play with you. And this is when I had no job. I was just bullshitting, smoking fucking weed, just chilling out, having like nothing to do, like as a young kid, right? He was like, hey man, like if me sleeping is just inhibiting our time of playing together, just here's my number, give me a call and wake me up and I'll hop right on.
Wow.
So we would hop on together, and I have to say, right hand on the Bible, we would probably play 12, 14 hours a day, go to sleep just enough to get some good rest, wake right back up and go about again. 14 hours. And then here's the difference though, Justin, is like, and this isn't shitting on you for only playing 4 to 6 hours a day, but as time goes on, right? As like you were playing in 14 that amount. So when I'm playing in like 2018 that amount of time, right? There's a substantial difference and like probably quality of game content and stuff that relates to being able to dedicate and have that amount of what would you say, like attention span or attention to the game. It increases as it goes on. You have people that'll grind Call of Duty for 14 hours a day,
I could
right?
never get into the shooters, man. I mean, I played them off and on throughout the years just for a little bit of entertainment.
Exactly. And
But
so,
man, I don't understand it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just one of them old fuckers that can't play
well,
these games. But they're so fast, man. I'll come around a corner at what I feel like is
it's
the same.
unreasonable at a good pace, and they just shoot you down dead.
Yeah,
It's
like
ridiculous.
we'll shoot at what seems like the same time,
And they just
at
win.
each
They got the
other.
upper hand.
They always end up killing me. I almost never end up killing them.
No. And like what I was saying about 70 design, I think you can relate with this on World of Warcraft. It was almost that communal like friendship where it's like, hey man, we're all just trying to like you have people around you and you have friends that necessarily aren't in front of you physically, but you can all work towards a certain goal together. And it was just having those people that really didn't care who you were, who you looked like, what you did. It was enjoying the company of people and the conversation and these conversations that you could hold with these people for 14 hours, right?
Oh yeah.
Or 6 hours, 12 hours, 10 hours, whatever it may be, 2 hours. You know,
Oh
that was
yeah.
the biggest thing for me. I still play 7 Days to Die on PC now. And which, by the way, we got to get into your PC build here in a second. I remember, like, you know, I still play 7 Days to Die on PC with people. And yeah, like my buddy John, Pizza John, he brought it to me the other day. He was like, hey, listen, man, you know, I've played it all. Like, we've done it all. Like, I've built everything. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, man, you're right. I've done it all. But for me, it's nice to see everyone kind of like gather together, put in a communal effort. And even if it's as something as simple as a video game, it's nice to be talking to your buddies, having that conversation, and putting the time. And you know, it is. I guess in a sense, it is a little bit of work to try and accomplish something together on a video game. But it's nice all having a common goal, a common like accomplishment. And I really wouldn't change any of my like fucking gaming experiences for anything like that.
Yeah, I
think
mean, I agree with you. Like, I know a lot of the reason that I played World of Warcraft so much back in the day is because I could play with my friends, and we could go on these quests together, and we could
and you meet new people too.
we met new people. I remember some usernames of some guys we played with.
Shelby.
One was Ocelot.
Oh, that's hot.
One was
Titty fuck.
oh, see, now I lost it. It'll come back to me. But yeah, I play with these guys. Amidas. But yeah,
Amadeus.
Amidas.
Okay. Amadeus. I'm a player. Yeah, continue.
Yeah, so we play with these guys, and I remember Amidas in general. He was a warlock, and he had all the best gear, man.
That's what it was, a warlock, yeah.
And he would blast the DPS meters down, man.
What's the DPS?
You get
Damage
this
per second?
You get this. It's like a mod for the game you can get as an add-on, and it's a meter of who's doing how much damage.
Is it legal?
It's legal. You can.
Oh, yeah, it's a DPS, damage per second. Yeah, you
it
could
really
tell.
doesn't help you play the game. It just tracks who's doing what. And
Okay.
he would be way up there, man, and just crushing everybody. And it was just fun to play with.
Did you just meet
like
him
that.
randomly?
Yeah, we just met him randomly.
But he was chill.
Yeah, he was
And
cool.
you happen to just have this dope-ass dude on your fucking team. What do you call them in World of Warcraft? Team, squads? Guilds, yeah. And you just had him in your guild, and like you guys just rolled together.
Yeah.
I think I've had that same experience in video games too, where like there's guys that like in Call of Duty, more specifically clans and stuff, like that we vibe together so well. And even though I might have been the shittiest person, we all loved enjoying hanging out and talking together. That someone could do so much better than the other, but you just still enjoyed the conversation and hanging out with each other and stuff like that. And I think especially during, let's turn it over to like COVID a little bit. I think COVID really put a big, established a big forefront on some of these things, because it was like, hey, like this is like you're at home now, you're at a stay-at-home thing. Like here's your whatever money you're getting, and here's your job, and you're going off of what you can. And you got your video games, and and that's where I met my buddy Caleb. You meet these people during, tough times. And I remember just having these guys in Call of Duty that are just so great that probably could stream and make millions of dollars and be excellent. but they chose to play with me or they chose to play with my buddies because of the conversations just being like, I remember just looking forward to hopping on, and you see your buddy online, right?
Yeah.
Like, fuck, let me just invite that guy to a party. Let's just chat it up. I remember, like, dude, I remember witnessing a murder through Xbox Live.
Oh, well, why don't we go into that?
I had this fucking guy on Xbox, and I have his son still on Xbox. I think it's like Christian, whatever the fuck. The guy's name on Xbox was Harad, and I don't want to say it's a murder, so let me not incriminate this guy. But his name was, so was it Harad or was it? It was Marad. It was Mirage. Miragee, like 19. It was his birth year. It was 1971. He was an older gentleman. He was probably in his 40s or plus 50s, and he was this big fucking chef out of like Texas or something like that. And we would always hang out together on Xbox. We would play these Call of Duties. He would do his KD was like 3 kills, 42 deaths.
Oof.
And mine would be like, 50 kills, 32 deaths. And he would come back at the end of the game, and me and him would probably be like, you know what? 3 kills, 40 deaths. Okay, I'll take it. And he'll be like happy about that. And like we would always talk together quite a bit on Xbox Live, like all the time. And I remember he took his headset off, but it was close enough. He either had it around his neck or something like that. And I joined his party. He accepted it. And then it kind of goes off to the side like this. And he goes, yeah. So, I'm telling you, we're paying too much for this place. We're paying too much money. Like, we need to get out of this as soon as we can. And then, like, I hear his neighbors. Like, he had some neighbors. It sounded like another couple with him. He was like, I'm telling you, I'll go down into that basement right now. I'll rewire some electrical, and I'll start an electrical fire. And we set this place on fire. They collect the insurance money. So I'm, like, listening to a guy trying to set his house on fire, commit insurance fraud. And, like, at some point, like, when you join a party, you're kind of like, all right, you're not listening, I'm leaving. But I was so engrossed in this whole conversation, like, all right, I want to listen to this guy commit insurance fraud. I'm interested.
Yeah.
That's dope as fuck. So, it's just one of those things. I think, video games have brought a lot of people together. And I think a lot of people, even our fathers, I'm not sure about your father, if he had much to do with, like, back in the day, pinball, Pong. Was your dad a Pong guy?
I think he actually did have a Pong back in the day.
God, that makes me so upset. My dad was a big, like, it wasn't Cruising World. It was this fucking arcade game that you played. Like, down when we were in Colorado Springs, I took you down to me and you spent some time at the Penny Arcade in Manitou.
Yeah.
And we would always pass this one arcade game. I was like, that's the game my dad fucking played. And he always played this game, and he used to collect stamps, I think, too. It's like some weirdo. He was collecting stamps.
Yeah, that's kind of nerdy.
Well, the thing.
Well, you know what? I met your dad once, but he probably doesn't even remember me.
Well, no, I'm sure he does. The thing about my dad is, though, he was nerdy, but you can be nerdy and have a 15-inch penis like he did, dude.
Yeah.
Dude,
absolutely.
it had to be a 24.5-inch penis.
Hell yeah. Hey, so I gotta ask you though.
Ask me right now, or you're gay.
Which
is nothing wrong with being gay, but ask me.
To the final moments of the segment. We got new emails that we need to read for our listeners.
Oh, yes. I figured the littlest thing. I'm sorry, like I meant to bring that up like fucking 7.5 hours ago. Hello?
Yes, I'm here. I'm waiting for you to
Justin
read that email.
Well, hold on, dude. These computers are not the fucking quickest things.
What are you talking about? You got this Alienware over here.
Well, I'm sorry we don't have thread rippers like fucking you do.
Yeah, I got this great computer build. It's giving me a lot of hell
tell us about that, because we have quite a bit of time right now. So fucking tell us.
So I put a lot of cheese into this computer a few years ago, and
which still competes very well with some of the best computers out there.
it's a I don't know what it's an overclocked processor. It's a Threadripper processor, and it's liquid cooled. I got all the fucking RAM. And
it's a nice computer, Justin. I gotta say, man. Like, I know, like, like you spent top of the line, like, fucking money, parts, everything when it came out.
Yeah,
and when you do that, it's still competitive years afterwards.
Yes.
it's not like buying the most basic shit for your computer and like in a year or two it's out of date. Like
no,
you
like
are,
today it is not the fastest computer,
but it's very competitive.
but it's not far down the list.
Nope.
I got a little problem with it. I got a little cooling issue, I think is what the problem is. I think my liquid cooler might have ran out of liquid.
Maybe
over
caught
time.
some air bubbles or something
Got
like
some
that.
air
Overheated a
bubbles
little
in the
bit.
system or something. So I'm going to take it in and have it done. I built the computer myself, but I really just don't want to play around with it anymore. I want to just have someone tell me what's wrong. I'll buy the part and put
That's
it
what
on.
That's what I was telling you with my Subaru. Like I have built everything on this car multiple times over, but I don't want to fucking do tires on my car.
Right.
If I have to pay someone $20 to do tires, okay. I already spent all the money. I already did all the hard stuff. Let me just leave some other stuff up to somebody else.
Yeah,
So,
I just really want to take it into a computer store for a diagnostic. I'll replace or fix whatever the problem is.
you don't want to throw money at it
I just
blindly.
don't want to.
Hey, tell me what's wrong. I'll do it.
I don't want to do the troubleshooting and everything like that.
Exactly.
Just tell me what's wrong and I'll do it.
Exactly.
That's
I agree
where I'm
with
at
you.
with that.
And it's a nice computer, and I know we play a lot of. I'd like you to get that fixed because we used to play a lot of Hell Let Loose.
Yeah, that little like a war game.
Dude, I remember us World War II Milsim. I remember us sitting in a foxhole on the beaches of Normandy for a good 40 minutes, dude. And I'm like, all right, man. All right, I'm about to take out this fucking Browning.
Yeah.
I'm throwing fucking smoke grenades.
Smoke grenades.
And I'm just like blah 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 blah. And I'm like, all right, go, go, go. And like I watch you, your little character, get up, pink, just shot dead down. I'm like, Jesus Christ, let's try it
those
again.
guys way up on the beach had us dead to rights, dude.
Oh my
we
God.
should have spawned in at a different location.
We should have, but it was so fun. It was enjoyable because we're big Saving Private Ryan's fans.
Yes.
So I think it was a great,
So what emails you got for us?
So emails wise, we got one. I think we're pretty backlogged on here, almost 2 weeks backlogged.
Well, just give
emails.
us a couple good ones. Or what have you got?
We'll do two. We'll do two.
Okay.
So I'll do two today. We'll start catching up on these. So, hello, gentlemen. I was wondering how you come up with all of those funny names for each other. Is it scripted or is it off the cup? Sincerely, Teddy Three Tits.
This has been read.
Huh?
This was in our last episode.
No, it wasn't.
I promise it was.
The episode we lost?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was lost. Hello?
Hi.
Yeah, okay. Well, how do we come up with the names, Justin? We'll read it twice. Well, I'm trying to go down, man. I got fucking 20 emails here. I'm trying to go from
All
the
right.
last
well,
one.
the answer to your question.
Okay,
here.
answer
We
the
just kinda
question.
come
Stop
up
being
with
such
them
a
off
little
the rip.
huge wiener dong.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Jesus.
You
fuck.
can't have a huge cock, Justin, and then shit on everybody else.
Okay, so here's how we come up with the emails, or with the names. Thongmas is we just come up with something off the rip, just like I did right there. See those amazing skills?
Yeah, see that? Or Justin Wong? Yeah.
Well, there you have it.
see that? Well,
Let's just move on to the
more.
next one.
Yeah, okay. Well, hey, listen, Teddy Three Tits. We probably talked to you about this already, but we'll hit it again. So let's go to the next one. I'm trying to divide this up so we have it like all fucking the way it has to be. So the next fucking email is from an Ashley.
Okay.
And this has to do with our last episode or 2 episodes ago. Florida catastrophe when I was stuck in the airport.
Oh yeah, when you were in the airport.
Hey, I saw Thomas on the news last year. It was ABC National News, and I happened to catch it while working in Albuquerque, and they were talking about delayed and canceled flights, and we're stationed in Florida, and I saw you standing in the line. Well,
That's pretty dope.
that kind of makes me sound like or feel like a celebrity. That's
Yeah.
pretty dope. Dude, I'm telling you, like on the last episode, I stood in line for 11 and a half hours, so it's about fucking damn time someone fucking saw me in line and did a little video recording.
Yeah, that sounds pretty fucking miserable.
Which is really actually kind of like relatable to you because you usually stand in line with the line that appears outside of me waiting to give me a kiss on the lips.
Well, let me ask you a question about standing in line for 11
Go ahead
hours.
and stand on my wiener.
How'd your feet feel that day?
Honestly, I really didn't care. Like, in the last of the Florida episode, I really was just thankful to like have the presence of a very successful actor and stuff like that. I really didn't give a shit.
Because you got those diabetic feet.
Diabetic feet. I don't have diabetic feet, you fuck. What do you
You're
think this
fuck.
is? These are gorgeous feet. I actually take pride in my feet.
Do you get petties?
Petty what?
Pedicures, you piece of shit.
Pedophiles, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
Do I get petties? No. No, I'm not stupid. And as a matter of fact, one of my buddies, Jeff Mandeville, would say, you need to be getting petties.
Did you say Jeff Mandeville?
Jack Mandeville.
There we go.
I didn't say Jeff.
You said Jeff.
Jeff Mandarins.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to have to put
Jeff.
Thomas to bed because he's obviously
hey,
had a
listen,
little bit too much to
guys,
drink.
Great episode. Again, we're, having a little bit of whiskey. We're getting off topic here. It was a great episode. It was a lot of fun. We can't wait for the next one. And we actually, appreciate your support and look forward to the, Justin, cut me off here and say
Yeah,
something funny.
thank you very much for listening.
Yeah,
Listen more, like more,
Oh my
comment
God.
more.
I'm peeing. Have a good one.